Hey you! Yes, you. Do you want to listen to an audiobook?
Oh, I could never listen to an audiobook. I don't have the time.
Oh, there's plenty time in the day to listen to all the audiobooks you need. You can listen to audiobooks while you're making coffee and while you're drinking it too. You can listen while you're putting on your makeup. You can listen to it while you're in the shower. You can listen to it while you're driving to the job that you hate.
Wow! Thanks, capitalism!
You can even listen to it while you're typing out very important emails.
Oh man, this is such an important business note. Wow! That is so many different ways I can listen to my audiobook. But where do I even start?
Well, if you stay tuned, I've got a few suggestions on where you can start.
Hey Bookaboos! Today I'm going to be talking about some audiobooks. And for those of you who don't think that's reading, you can get out! There's the trash can! Whoop whoop! Trendy! But no, seriously, I want to talk about 5-ish audiobooks that I have really loved. So in the past year or so, I have really gotten into audiobooks. Because I am dyslexic, it helps me actually get through some books a little bit faster, and also sometimes when I'm just hesitant on whether I'm going to like a book or not, I'll pop it in the old Libby and I'll try it out. I don't know what I'm trying to do. Like, am I trying to be edgy? Am I trying to be cool? Like, I don't know what's going on here. It's actually kind of funny because I actually dress like this on a normal occasion. Like, this is kind of how I dress on a normal occasion, but it feels weird to be dressed like this for a video because normally in a video I'm just like wearing a t-shirt. So, we're gonna start up with my number 5 because I want to go down to number 1, and then I'm gonna give you some, like, extra recs if you're feeling it afterwards. Extra recommendations! So the first up in the list is Bone Gap. I've actually talked about this book before on my video. So what the story is, you got our main character, Finn. He's a little bit strange, he's a little bit weird, he's a little bit quirky, but that's how I like my main characters. He lives in the town of Bone Gap, and basically there's this girl who was his brother's girlfriend, or not girlfriend, not entirely sure, like, at the beginning of the book. You're not sure. But you just know that she was this foreigner who was there and then is now gone. And everyone thinks that she just ran away. But he's like, no, no, no. No, 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 no. No! I don't know why I'm so hyped today. But he's like, no, something went wrong. So you kind of go on this kind of like magical realism journey with him to find Rosa. And let me just say, the narration is good. You know how sometimes you listen to audiobooks and you're just like, wow, that narration, it sucks balls. But no, it was just very solid, and like, there's this, like, the villain of the story, he's given this, like, really creepy voice that just kind of makes your spine, like, oh, ooh, 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 oh! Number 4 on my list is W.A.T. Want by Sydney Pond. I don't know why I'm so just like, oh. I realize here, as a trend, as I'm like starting to do this, is some of these audiobooks I actually have mentioned in my... Why am I pointing backwards? My videos aren't there. There's not like a shelf where I'm just like, cling, cling, here's the videos. Oh, but I have mentioned some of these in my videos. And another one that I've mentioned is Want. So, this is a good audiobook. Let me tell you why. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I like gobbled it up. Like, my ears, they were rejoicing. They were like, thank you, Maris. My ears were just like, yes, 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 thank you. Like, if my ears were real. If my ears were people, they'd be like, when listening to one. So, basically, you got Jason. He's not from the best neck of the wood, but what he's got on his side is he's got a ragtag team of the, like, friends who are gonna help him steal some shit. You know, as you do. And if you like a good ragtag team, then this is a good book for you. So you got your ragtag team. Jason's sent to basically woo one of these people into letting him into this high-stake facility. But first what he has to do is he has to use one of these, like, they have these suits. Because the oxygen is so bad there, the air is just so polluted, it's just so toxic, that the rich people just basically wear, like, these suits that give them air and, like, all that. So, like, they're fancy. So they get him one of that suits and he's supposed to, like, woo things. But obviously things don't go as planned. People fall in love, there's places destroyed, there's danger amidst. And so, if you like a good sci-fi thriller, if you like some, like, ragtag family, if you like a story just about, like, if you like a story that is just full of, like, adventure and intrigue around the corner and that keeps you on your toes the whole time, this is it. I mentioned before in a video, this one, that basically it was everything I wanted Warcross to be. It was good. It was fun. And actually I think the second book is out, which I need to either listen to or to read. So I'll have to check if my library has it because, ooh, that's what I'm currently doing with a lot of my books. This next audiobook actually might come as a surprise to some of you peeps. It is a historical fiction, which obviously I don't read a lot of, but it is Lincoln in the Barbado. Am I saying that right? Lincoln in the Barbado? I think I'm saying it right. One thing that is just so fantastic about this is, like, if you really appreciate high production, if you appreciate audiobooks that go the extra step, that go the extra mile, then definitely read this book. There is like over 40 different narrators. 40 different narrators. You got like Nick Offerman in it too. Like Nick freaking Offerman. But like every single like person like gets a line. Like they do this thing where, let me tell you what the book is about first, before I go on my long-winded rant about how like amazing the production value of this story is. So what happened is this story kind of takes place, obviously it's like a year into the Civil War, President is not having a lot of fun, and to make matters worse, his son dies. Which, if my dad would stop doing dishes, I'd be happy. So basically the story goes back and forth between giving you articles of the time, like, and here's the fun part, no voice is reused. No voice is reused. So if an article states like, in one of the articles you find out about how the kids are like all running amok, that's a different person from the next article. And it does these things where you get these cool insights of the perception of people, who they were, and then it goes back into the story. Well, in the story, you have basically this child, like, finding out, like, sorry, sonny boy, you're dead. But the thing is, like, apparently, like, young spirits don't last long, so these older spirits are basically trying to convince this young Lincoln to move on. But he can't move on because he wants to see his dad. Like, sad boy. Sad boy. There's just like so much going on in this story. So much going on, but if you love you some historical like fiction, this is a good one. I did not read it. I listened to it and I thought it was fantastic. I feel like if you're reading it, it might not have the same feel and same vibe as the audiobook, because the audiobook was like basically, I felt like, have you ever listened to like a good radio show, or like those, ooh, what were they thinking, like those old the old radio shows like the Green Hornet and like those murder mysteries? I felt like it was one of the productions of those, and like every character felt alive. So good. So good. And it was like, honestly, just a really good audiobook. So, 10 out of 10 would recommend. So my next audiobook that I got to recommend you is also a good one where I think they do character voices very well, because like sometimes if you're listening to an audiobook and they just don't do character voices well, you're just like, eee. I think also it kind of affected the way I saw the story too, because like there's some parallels between the back and forth. Okay, so here's the story. There's Hayden, who is just like this normal like art student. He's intelligent in the things, and you kind of just slowly see him like, you see kind of like him deteriorating. I don't know if that's the right words. Not deteriorating as much as like, you kind of see him like mentally just not being there. Like, have you ever like watched someone, like you watch someone slowly form into a mental breakdown? Like mentally they're slowly starting to like just not be on point as much. And so you have that Caden versus the Caden who is on this pirate ship and he's going away and he doesn't understand what's going on, but he has to listen to all these like absurd and obscure rules, and there's all these characters you meet, and so it goes back and forth between these two different Cadens, and it's really interesting. And like if you listen to the audiobook, I guess it might give a little bit away, in like it's a little bit easier to guess what's going to happen because it is an audiobook form, so some voices may have like be able to show you some of the parallels between the story, which is a good thing. I found it very interesting still, and like towards the end of the book, I still cried. I was bawling all up in the house, you know. It was good. But it definitely might give a little bit away rather than reading it. I do suggest if you want to read it, you can, because there's these cool little doodles all over it, which I have mentioned in the book because I bought it too. I eventually plan on actually reading it, but I bought it because I was like, I love the doodles. However, the audiobook was really good narration, and it really brought the story to life, and I guess in a way it gave it a different kind of emotional depth. But it was soup fantastic. And the number one is Dread Nation. If you've seen me on Twitter, I have probably screamed about this like for most of January. I loved Dread Nation. And I'm having a hard time putting my words to thought, and it's always that like phenomenon when you love a book, you're like screaming and you're just like, just read it, it's amazing, you'll love it. But like people are like, but why? And I'm just like, because I said so. However, let me give you some what up for the what up. So here we go. Here's another historical fiction, but we got a little twist of zombies. Now, this definitely does not seem a book that I would like. Not at all. 100% no. However, this story went beyond my wildest fantasies. It basically made me sort of kind of like zombies. I think it has a lot to do with, this story is all about perception. It's about how you're perceived, the way you perceive the world, and the way you perceive your perception. Perceive your perception? Perceive your situations. Wow, Maris, wow. So basically, you got my main girl, Jane. She's up in the school and she's learning how to fight zombies, or as in the book, they call them shamblers. And basically, like, my girl is the best in the East because she's on the East Coast, because it's still after the Civil War. Now, this is reinvented, like, in the Reconstruction era of the Civil War. Instead of like just living their good old racist lives, we got zombies into the mix. So we got Jane, and then also my girl Kate. Kate is a little bit different than Jane, as in, even notice she is a woman of color. She is more passing for white. You basically have these schools of like people of color who are learning to fight zombies for white people. Yeah, it is just as systematically problematic as you think it is, but it makes for a very good and intriguing story. You have a lot of interesting things going into this politically, not just about like what it means to be like obviously black because some people are white passing and all that, but it means what it means to be human. It means what is it like to live in a world where you still think that the people are worse than like literally zombies. Imagine living in a world where you're like, you know what, I take my bet with a shambler because at least I know that they're gonna try to kill me. With you, I don't even know. So it's a really good book where you get a biracial character who, she's a strong and fierce independent woman, and you get this amazing story about how she's dealing and learning to cope in a world that doesn't think that she necessarily should exist. And also learning how to survive just not humans, but shamblers, and survive in a world that just wasn't made for women. It's not made for women, it's not made for women of color, it's just not, she's just got like all the buckets checked off where it's just like, nah brah. But it's such an amazing and brilliant story. There's twists and turns, and I just love it, and I can't wait for the next book. Now, I did promise some extra bonus books. I'm gonna put them up here. So I definitely think you should read any of like the comedians like audiobooks because they read them themselves and they're absolutely hilarious. Some of the ones that I have listened to is I listened to Nick Offerman's, I've listened to Leslie Knope's, nope that's not her name, Amy Poehler, Amy Poehler. I've listened to Tina Fey's, those are really good. And for those of you who love Hamilton the Revolution, it's really good too. Obviously you can buy the book too, but it's really good and well done, and it explains kind of like, not exactly Hamilton itself as much as like the process of writing and through it. Now, I just want to let you know, for those of you who don't know, it does say that it's narrated by Hamilton. It does say it's narrated by Lin-Manuel, but it's not narrated by Lin-Manuel until like the very end. Like the very end portion of it. So you have to get through that, and so like I was like a little like shook at first, but also it's a very quick audiobook. Like, what is it, like not even long. Let's see how long it is. I found it. Whoa, win for me. It is only like 6 hours. For me, 6-hour audiobooks is not a big deal. Most of the audiobooks I actually listen to are a lot longer. Like, a lot longer. Like, I'm currently in the middle of listening Strange the Dreamer. That's like 20 hours without listening on it like the double speed. And even at the double speed, I'm still sitting at 18 hours. 18 hours. My god. So that's all I've got booked. I will see you in the next video. Huh. That's really close up on my face. If you want to see all of me. All of me. All of me. No, we don't want that. Oh, I meant to unrecord this. This is all bloopers.